So this video is just going to go through hoisting. So there's another one to look at setting up the chair, but I'm just going to show the hoisting bit. So I'm going to try and do this together. So the first thing is Beth's on her sling. I haven't shown you rolling onto a sling, but you need to make sure that the top of the sling is at the top of her head so that she's in the right position. In terms of connecting the sling up, the two bits at the bottom, you go through the loops to make like bunny ears, and then the bottom ones join through those loops on each side so that you're ready for that one, so it's all secure at the bottom. So you've got these front ones, they do up on the black hoops at the end. The ones in the middle near Beth's shoulders do up on the orange hoops, loops, and then the one at the top, if you're with me, they do on the shortest one. If you're with Alan, they do on the next one. So the important things to remember are normally you'll be working with someone else. You can do this on your own, but which I'm doing at the moment, but you normally will do this with someone else. You just need to coordinate and communicate. Really importantly, make sure that the hoist itself is always being held by someone and is secure, because if this knocks you in the head, you'll know about it. So I'm going to bring the hoist over. I've pulled it down slightly already. Make sure that when you put the hoist back, the handle goes into the handset, and that's the way it charges. It'll beep a couple of times to let you know that it's charging. So make sure that you do that. We don't leave the hoist on the bed like we used to with the old one. We always put it back into the charge point. So I'm going to bring this down. It's on an H-frame, which means it can slide backwards and forwards, and it can slide sideways. So you need to be able to put it in the position that works best. To be able to lift Beth up, you want to be pretty much above her shoulders. So the hoist is close to the loop of lights at the top, and it's just above Beth's chest. So we're going to join the black loop on the bottom one to the front of the hoist. The orange ones join to the back, and then the lowest one, so it's shortest when it's being lifted up. So orange on this side, and then the shortest one. So then Beth's connected to the hoist. Generally Beth will keep pushing that arm out. It's better if it stays out. If you try to tuck it back in, then she tends to sit on her hand, and then you'll have to try and get her hand out. Same with this hand, just make sure that it's free and she's not going to squash it when she gets up. And then the next thing to do is to undo the Velcro here on the tube, so that it's not connected, and you're going to hold this with your hand, and you're also going to hold the wire for the Alan's voicing, I've forgotten what I was saying. I'm still going to carry on. Then you're also going to hold the cable for the probe, that's what I'm saying. So I tend to hold both of them in my left hand, and then control the pick up the hoist with my right hand. I'm going to start lifting Beth up. I'm going to hold this tube and make sure it's close to the edge of here. So I always want to make sure there's slack on the tube, and then I can guide it more easily. And what I'm going to do is Beth lifts up, and I'm actually going to bring my head round behind her head just so I can use my other arm to steer her head. Now obviously if there's someone using the control already, then the person at the top just needs to be able to hold the tubing and steer Beth's head. Beth will often have a stretch. You can see she's a bit sleepy right now. So I've just paused, let her have a little stretch. Don't need to pause necessarily. Lifting up. So you want to lift up as much as to make sure that Beth's feet are free of the bed. You don't want to lift so high that you can't be able to reach to put the trackie back, the vent back on if it falls off. So I'm going to pull the chair behind me very slightly, backwards a little bit, so that I can move Beth. Now obviously Beth can move on this hoist. I don't want her to swing too far forward, because otherwise there's not enough cable to be able to reach. But also I want her to be able to get in a chair. So I'll pull the chair back a little bit, and then I'm going to slide back and make sure that all the cables and the tubing come across the back of the headrest so they don't get stuck. And then I'm also using my hand just to steer her back. So once we're over the chair, we're hovering over the chair. I'm just going to turn the camera a little bit. We're hovering over the chair, and obviously you've got someone normally at the front. You're going to make sure that her feet are clear. You can move her forward a little bit, and then you're going to slowly lower. So as I say, I'm doing the controls as well. So make sure that her feet are clear. That's it. And then I'm going to put my hand into her groin on the right hand side, on Beth's right hand side. So I'm going to encourage that to go back, and I want her back to slide down the back of the chair. So I've lifted the headrest out of the way so that she's not going to get caught on that. So I'm sliding down the back of the chair. I've got my hand around the back of her head just to encourage it to reach and meet the headrest. If the headrest is pushed slightly out of the way, I'm actually going to use my elbow. I was using my elbow then to push the headrest down a little bit. Obviously, less to do if you've got someone doing this. And you want to bring it down enough that you can release the hoist. Now, the next video shows you the clicking in of the chair and how to arrange everything and how to get the position right. So what I'm just going to show you, actually I won't do it, I'll do a separate video to show you how to change the vent over and connect the vent. So that's the hoisting part, and the final bit of the hoisting part is to make sure that goes in. I hear it beeping, and you're going to send this up. So generally to the top of the bookcase means that it's out of the way of people's heads. Don't have anyone that tall. And then we know that it's going to charge. So that's hoisting.